Welcome back to Weather Nation and good Monday to you. Saw a little light snow there across the Twin Cities on Sunday, and we've had a lot of snow across the northern thumb of Michigan. This is in Alba, Michigan, just to the north and east of Traverse City. And look at this guy. He is, I'd imagine he's got one foot on the ground, dragging the ground there, trying to hold himself up and having the time of his life. It does look like a lot of fun. And talk about fresh powder. Fresh snow. This is an area of Michigan that gets hit with a lot of lake effect snow as well. So you can have those very narrow bands of lake effect snow machines that really can dump anywhere between 6 inches close to a foot just in about a 24-hour period. So we have seen a lot of snow across the northern thumb of Michigan. Now across White Bear Lake, Minnesota, we always love our friend Quinn Casey, who sends us a lot of content there from areas just to the north of the Twin Cities. We started off with a little cloud cover this morning. It makes for very nice sunrise shots. Gorgeous illustration of color there, but pretty great conditions in store for the day today. We're getting those winds pumping in out of the south. It's drawing in a little bit of heat. Relatively speaking, it's not hot out there, but it is going to make our temperatures a little bit warmer today, but it's also going to draw in that cloud cover as well. So expect pretty great conditions, maybe a little filtered sunshine, but again, mostly cloudy skies are going to continue today. Temperatures into the upper 30s, tomorrow into the mid 30s. It's a lot of low-hanging clouds across Milwaukee, Wisconsin. That is also going to be in store for today. Temperatures in the low 40s, both today and followed by tomorrow at about 41 degrees as well. As we continue to talk about your forecast here into parts of Kalamazoo, Michigan, 40s for highs today, a little bit of rain into the area, and low 40s for tomorrow. The Motor City, maybe a few little isolated showers out there today. Not a washout though. I think most of your day part will actually stay pretty dry for Detroit. The big feature here is those winds pushing in out of the south and west. So as we kind of said before, it is allowing our temperatures to heat up just a little bit more versus this time yesterday. So temperatures will be a little bit warmer. We're kind of in the warm sector of this system. Again, relatively speaking, low pressure to the north. We've got the front here, got the warm front stationed just across the Great Lakes. So all those winds pumping in out of the south, giving us some of that cloud cover, more of those milder temperatures for places like Des Moines. Into low 50s today, low 40s for Mason City, 34 in Sault Ste. Marie. Still going to feel a little bit colder out there, 19, 20 degrees by this afternoon for the Upper Peninsula, but pretty nice and mild is how it'll stay for Des Moines for this afternoon. That front continues to dive a little farther south as we move through the afternoon hours. Light accumulations of snow for the Arrowhead of Minnesota, anywhere between 1 to 3 inches of additional snow here for parts of Bemidji into International Falls, and that'll happen late this afternoon into the evening hours. Also for Sault Ste. Marie into Houghton, Michigan. Overnight tonight, we'll see a little light blanket of snow as well, so be mindful of that. Temperatures will be into the 20s, some low 30s out there, so most locations will be hovering at or below freezing. Front continues to pass as we move through the morning afternoon hours for Tuesday. We'll be wrapping up with some of that snow across the parts of the Upper Peninsula, and high pressure pushing in for parts of Iowa into Minnesota. Little lake effect snow likely as those winds get going out of the mainly north and west for Tuesday afternoon. That could give us some additional lake effect snow here for parts of Sault Ste. Marie, but not until, again, the afternoon hours for Tuesday and into Tuesday evening. So Minneapolis, Duluth, Mason City will be staying dry for Tuesday afternoon. Again, temperature highs as we roll right on through. 40 degrees in La Crosse, 34 in Sault Ste. Marie, and 50s in Des Moines. The system we're really going to have to watch is going to be into Wednesday morning, Wednesday afternoon, as more mature area of low pressure energy starts to enter from the high plains and moisture. We're drawing in all that moisture today and tomorrow, and that is only going to help this system as it moves in, dump some heavier snow for parts of Minnesota into Rylander, Wisconsin, the Sault Ste. Marie areas by Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening, and this is also going to bring about our next push of Arctic air by the late week. So afternoon highs on Wednesday, 21 in Sault Ste. Marie, 47 in Des Moines. As that area of low pressure lifts a little farther towards the east, that will make for kind of a rain-snow mix here for Thursday afternoon for Milwaukee, beginning with rain for Des Moines. And as we see those wraparound winds around that area of low pressure, we get that cooling all the way to the surface, and that moisture wrapping around, we could see some development of snow here for parts of I-35 from Des Moines north into Mason City by late Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening, with those temperatures into the 30s. And look at Friday, we're going to be in the teens for Bemidji, so wind chill readings will be down in the single digits for the upper Midwest. So all things considered, little light accumulations of snow now, but that big system comes through Wednesday night, Thursday lingering into Friday for parts of Iowa. We'll be right back.
A little snow, a little bit of ice across the northern tier of the country where you're looking on the Viper radar. That's northern North Dakota and far northwest Minnesota. And also the top right-hand side of your screen, that's Cavalier, North Dakota, where we are seeing some of that, again, light mix of snow and ice. But that could precede a pretty active week, including places down south like Dallas, which is all souped in right now. But that same moisture is going to lead to that potential for severe weather in the coming days. Thanks for taking the time to join us right here on Weather Nation.
You know, this is a pattern too, Chris, that we've set up now, especially down into the deep south, where we're going to see a couple of storms, a couple of low pressures move through the Gulf of Mexico, followed by high pressure off to the north, which sets up a little messy scenario into the Gulf Coast for a while, maybe even all the way into the end of the year.
Oh boy, so it's going to be active, it's going to be chilly. We're going to have more on that all-important holiday forecast. I know a lot of you asked about that. I'm going to have the answers in just a second, but here now we're seeing some rain and snow.
We are indeed. Let's talk about what's happening. If you're headed out this evening, do a little shopping, going home, whatever the case may be, we have heavy rainfall along the Gulf Coast of Texas. Now, north of Corpus Christi, but back over to San Antonio and into Victoria, Houston, Galveston, along I-45, it's coming down. Bucket loads from College Station off to the north of Lufkin, Beaumont, Port Arthur. Then as you get over to Louisiana near New Iberia, have some scattered rain showers there as well as Alexandria. Get a little break around Birmingham. It was raining pretty heavily into the Wiregrass a little bit earlier. Now it's really breaking up pretty rapidly, but moving over near I-95, just north of Duval County, Jacksonville, find some heavier rainfall there up to Jessup in Georgia. As you go further to the north, we'll find some more precipitation. Mostly, this is just going to be scattered rain into Pennsylvania, but then we get into the snow further to the north. We're talking about places just to the east of Syracuse, although there's going to be a changeover all over the place here on I-90 and I-87, going back over into the northern portions of Vermont, New Hampshire, and into Maine. That is all snow, prolonged period of snow that will fall there too. Then as we move further to the west, it's a little bit like rain at the moment, but that'll be changing over as well. Duluth, some of the heavier snowfall of the day today. We've had some rates around 1 inch per hour over the past couple of hours as that rounds the turn, makes its way southward, and some more precipitation in the form of snow across northern sections of Montana. Ends up being kind of a miserable day in the Pacific Northwest. Seattle, Tacoma, down I-5 to Longview. There's a fetch of moisture there that it's going to take a while to get rid of that, Chris. So not a pretty sight there in the Pacific Northwest.
All right, so let's get from there to probably the big question in your minds. What's it going to be like for the upcoming weekend for that travel forecast? First things first, we'll take a look here at Christmas Eve, where it's going to be very cold across the northern tier of the country. Where you see those dark purples out there in the Dakotas, Minnesota, yeah, that's where there's some very Arctic air. And the first true kind of blast of Arctic air that we've seen so far this season, it spills its way south into the lower 48, and then will continue to slide its way off towards the east as we get into your Christmas Day. A slight budge, but mostly staying in place. Also notice this secondary dip down into Texas and Louisiana, so that cold air gets as far south as places like Houston, Dallas, New Orleans. If you're looking to go to some of those places for some warmer air for your Christmas, I might want to look elsewhere like Florida. But even by your December the 26th, by your Boxing Day, yeah, and we do see some of that colder air slightly budging its way off towards the east, so for places like Buffalo, Cleveland, Columbus, and Detroit, that's when you feel that much chillier air mass. So let's go through a few places here and show you what we are anticipating in the coming days. How about Boston as we head through the next little while? Some showers for you, but it's actually fairly mild. Next week looks to be colder for you. How about St. Louis? High of just 33 on your Monday. Cleveland, 35 for your Monday. Of course, that is your Christmas Day proper. And then further off towards the west, that's where the colder air settles its way on in first. So places like Denver, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, your high temperatures, just in the teens in your location. And then further off towards the south, Albuquerque, not a whole lot better, highs in the 30s. Further off towards the south, you're looking at 50s, highs in the 40s on your Christmas Day in Las Vegas. And San Francisco, steady as always, seem for you into Los Angeles. Further off towards the south and east, hey, Miami, that looks nice, doesn't it? High near 80 for you on your Christmas Day. Dallas, Christmas Day, high just 44. Atlanta, 49. New Orleans, a little bit milder, but you do feel that colder air as we get into your Tuesday and your Wednesday. And then further off towards the north and west, it is cold. Billings, Montana, highs in the teens. Cheyenne, Wyoming, your Christmas Eve, your high temperature, 8 degrees. How about that for you, the capital of the Cowboy State? And then back off towards the south, but showing places like El Paso, Oklahoma City, high of just 34. Yeah, some very cold air. For your day tomorrow, showers, storms for you in the Arklatex. Hey, we need the moisture. We'll take some of that, but that could also bring the potential for severe weather. We're going to have more on that coming up here. So Galveston, that muggier air could lead to some of those showers and storms. Further north, snow. Details on all of it coming up.
Well, hey there, and thanks for staying with us as we take you out to Champaign-Urbana, Illinois at the University of Illinois. A couple people, look at that, getting your picture taken with the alma mater there. Pretty awesome shot there. And you know what? South Bend, Indiana, also seeing some low-hanging cloud cover. We have some fog that's been an issue throughout the morning, but you know what? As we head deeper into the afternoon and evening, it's going to look a little bit better. Go ahead and enjoy that sunshine that we have, because it's going to be few and far between as we head towards the end of the week. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm meteorologist Andy Stein. You're watching Weather Nation, and of course, right now we're talking about your central regional forecast, which brings us straight out to Bloomington, Indiana, which is also looking okay, but notice how there's no shadows. We are experiencing really a lot of cloud cover out there in Bloomington. Wichita, Kansas, you're looking okay. Driving conditions pretty much a-okay at this point in Kansas. And even Florence, Kentucky, look at the low-hanging ceiling that we have there, at least around your lunchtime hour today, with a light breeze. You can see there from the flag. In Cincinnati, Ohio, we have a little bit of wet pavement around. We're starting to see a lot of that snow melt off there in Cincinnati. Some low-hanging cloud cover is again the theme for the first half of the day here. But down towards Nashville, it's just been some wet weather, some dreary weather that's really making those colors pop outside, but a lot of that warm air has brought in some of that rain, and that's what we're seeing even as your temperature changed from this morning to this afternoon. We're within a couple of degrees of that, and not much rain has fallen, so we're not talking about a huge washout of a day that we had yesterday or this morning. Really just over a trace in places like Indianapolis, Lexington, Knoxville, and even Chattanooga, over 1/10 of an inch. Not impressive, but we do have a little bit more rain in the forecast. Let's go ahead and bring you through the rest of the day today, because continuing through right around Chicago, right around the Great Lakes, you can see we have some of those isolated showers, and really just spotty and sporadic showers through the Ohio Valley are going to be with us through the second half of your day today. Clearing skies as you head further west, but again, not lasting for too long. We have a cold front that's going to drape in by Tuesday morning, and that could bring us maybe just a little bit more cloud cover, but not so much in the way of any rain showers or really cooler temperatures tomorrow. Look at Wichita. We're not changing one bit. We have 59 and sunshine expected with maybe a few afternoon cumulus clouds. But look at Cleveland. A few showers out there today, followed by more sunshine tomorrow and 47 degrees. Looking pretty nice. And we're going to do a good jump there in Louisville, where we're going to see upper 40s today. Maybe a shower or two, not out of the question. But then we're jumping into the upper 50s as we head throughout the afternoon on Tuesday. So slightly warmer. But again, enjoy the warmth that we have. Even though in Memphis you'll be in the lower 60s with a few rain showers, you'll still want to soak up some of that warmth, because by the end of the week we're going to be tracking a big cool down, not just for the central region, but really for the entire country. High pressure builds in and clears us out throughout the rest of the day today. Cold front moves through overnight through tomorrow, but notice the lack of anything that it has with it. But once it heads a little bit further to the south, it's going to interact with some warmer air. The lift from this front is going to allow for some rain showers to spark off right along the I-40 corridor. So for Wednesday morning, really Tennessee, southern Missouri, southern Kentucky, southern Indiana, and Illinois as well, you're going to have the chance of seeing some isolated rain showers. But other than that, the rest of the region is looking phenomenally beautiful, and enjoy the sunshine while we have it, because look, by Thursday we have our next system moving in. This is the one that I've been hinting at. That's going to bring some snow to Kansas, also Iowa, northern Illinois, northern Missouri possibly by the end of the day on Thursday. But what it's also going to do is usher in some much colder temperatures. As far as accumulation goes, down towards Chattanooga, 1 to 2 inches of rain not out of the question. For Little Rock over towards Memphis, maybe about 1 to 2 inches as we close out the day on Thursday. And there's that snow. We'll have to wait a couple more days here to see how much we can get, because it's still pretty far out. But needless to say, we need the moisture here across the central region. We desperately need it for sure, and we're going to be getting some of it. And we're also going to be getting a lot of this cold air. Look at this Arctic blast that's going to be dipping in by the end of the week. When you have those whites, those blues, those pinks showing up, that's how you know it's going to be cold, and it is at times. 57 degrees in Kansas City. We jump above the charts here and then dip down. Look at this. Highs only in the upper 20s are in the forecast by the end of the weekend. For areas like Memphis, Tennessee, we're also going to see those temperatures dip well below average, with afternoon highs only in the upper 40s. And there's that big dip for Wichita, Kansas as well. I mean, it is just going to be a significant 30 plus temperature degree drop as we head from about Thursday into Friday and then into Saturday as well. So be ready for the cold air. It's definitely going to be here. It's also going to be here for Chicago. We have a high of 50 degrees expected on Friday, followed by a high barely even breaking that freezing mark. It is going to be cold, and we'll be here with you every step of the way. So make sure you keep tuning back into Weather Nation.
Talk about some serious fog. Take a look at this out of Galveston. Yeah, that's a lot of moisture in the air. Dew points here in the mid 60s. What that's telling us, a lot of moisture moisture, and that will translate into that potential for some severe weather across parts of the south in the coming days that could interfere with some of those travel plans. But for the here and now, that also means low beams time and around Galveston and on beautiful Galveston Island. Although right now, maybe not as beautiful as what we would normally expect, David, but we are looking at some of those showers and storms that could, as I mentioned, turn severe here in the next few days.
Yeah, we're going to be watching this area. Those dew points, like you said, they're pretty high up there. And when you get that, the lack of sunshine is going to be the overall factor here. I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of widespread severe weather, but nonetheless, that's what we'll look at. If you were headed out this evening, let's talk about what you might encounter across the Gulf Coast, especially the Texas Gulf Coast, where things look messy. That's down to Houston, Galveston area, all the way back to the north, in and along I-45, as far north as Bryan or Lupton in Texas. Some of the heavier rainfall coming into Houston even as we speak, down to the south into Galveston, Lake Jackson area too. A little bit further on to the east over to Baton Rouge, we have some scattered rain showers there as well. New Iberia, scattered about southern Alabama earlier. That's moved into Georgia, and one lone thunder shower still there just to the west of I-95 in Brunswick, Georgia, around Vidalia, Georgia, that we'll be looking at. To the north we go. We do have some of the heavier snow at the moment coming off of the lake and moving on shore just north of Syracuse. That's going to change over where it's not yet. It's about to. That's into northern sections of New York State and into Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine as well. Then back to the west, we have scattered rain showers. Some of these are heavy. Back to the west along I-90. Go to the north, and you'll find some more precipitation around Duluth, St. Cloud, and into Minneapolis. That's just to the north of Minneapolis, but still some of the heavier snow at the moment that we're looking at, and across northern Montana as well. Some of the heavier snowfall. It's all rain, by the way, coming into Seattle, except when you get into Cascades, and we'll find some of that high mountain snow, Chris.
All right, so there you have it out there. Now into the south, the story is going to be that increasing moisture coming out of the Gulf of Mexico. You can notice those temperatures getting in the mid-60s with some of that Gulf air. Rainfall amounts, a lot of this was from last night in New Orleans. You picked up almost 3 inches of rain on your day yesterday. That set a new daily record. Martin, Tennessee, that dew point, notice how that's starting to climb up and getting pretty close to the air temperature, giving us an idea that some of that moisture is starting to lift its way into our direction. Destin, Florida, a place David knows quite well. Look at that dew point, nearly 70 degrees for you. That is certainly showing us, again, a ton of that moisture. That is air you can wear as you head outdoors. Tonight, as David was mentioning, we're not looking for much in the way of severe weather, but as we get into your day tomorrow, these dew points are expected to climb, and as these dew points climb, dew point just kind of equate that with moisture. Higher this number is, the more moisture there is in the air mass, and we're going to be seeing some of that in through parts of the south. So, forecast we get into your night tonight and more into your day tomorrow, so that moisture again starting to lift its way on out of the Gulf of Mexico, and that'll draw up some of those showers and rumbles of thunder through the Arc-O-Tex, as well as along I-20 on north into El Dorado, Arkansas. Could lead to some periodic threats for severe weather. Overall, the threat doesn't appear to be too high, as Steve was mentioning as well. The cloud cover is just in play, just a bit too much in the way of cloud cover out here. For your Tuesday from Houston, kind of El Campo on north and east towards Jackson, Mississippi, that marginal risk, if you're doing a 0 to 5 scale, the lime green is a 0, the dark green is a 1 in terms of potential for severe weather. And yes, there's the potential for an isolated tornado, but we do expect that again to be mostly isolated. Same threats moving east as we get into your day here on Wednesday, and that does mean that potential for some of those stronger storms. Forecast rains, well, that will end up being the big story. A lot of areas that desperately need some of that moisture will be getting a lot of it, hopefully again without that severe weather, with the possibility for 3 to 6 inches of rain in some spots before the week is over and done with. Again, this in a lot of those drought-plagued locations. So David, this is overall good news, hopefully able to avoid some of that high-end severe weather here.
Yeah, we're going to be watching that as time goes on. It's not the setup for that. It's not really the perfect setup to have that kind of thing happen, but we'll look at it. We can also show you in the Pacific Northwest. It is the perfect setup for some of this rain, miserable rain moving into Seattle. Temperatures are kind of cool too. That's going to be high mountain snows into the Cascades as you move further and further to the east, but that fetch of moisture, wow, that's way back to the west. It'll be coming on shore through the night tonight. Just a pure easterly flow, west to east, 45 degrees into Seattle, east-northeast wind at about 7 miles per hour. If you look at the winter weather advisories, yeah, from northern sections of Oregon all the way back up into the Cascades, or the western sections of Montana, where you find anywhere from 3 to 6, 6 to 8, and some of the higher elevations there as you move further and further up in elevation. Let's talk about what's happening in your forecast ahead. Coming up, we're going to be going up into Massachusetts. We'll talk more about what's happening with your forecast ahead for the Northeast coming up.
Welcome back. Well, we were coated in fog this morning in Austin, Texas. I mean, you can barely see too far out ahead of yourself with this video coming in. It was just widespread fog because we had those temperatures right around that dew point line. That's when you start to form the water droplets in the atmosphere that you're seeing as fog, and you're really not seeing too far ahead of yourself with that fog. Now we're seeing more sunshine. This was earlier in Little Rock, a few clouds and sunshine breaking through. One of the spots that we could actually be seeing quite a bit of rain as we head into the next few days, and we desperately need it here. We are in an extreme and severe drought across Louisiana, Texas, Arkansas, and that's when we're really needing the rain, and we saw a lot of it, and we're going to see more. We saw a record yesterday in New Orleans, Louisiana. We smashed that record, over 2 inches, over close to 3 actually. As we fall, I mean, that old record, 1.77 from 2009, that smashed record is now out of here, and we have a new one. We're still seeing some rain today, especially across the coastal areas of Texas, from Corpus Christi all the way to New Orleans. We've seen about 1/2 inch in the past 24 hours already, and we need it there. We have that dry drought working through, and even extreme as you look towards that red is Texarkana into southern and central Arkansas. That's where we're going to see actually a good amount of rain working through Arkansas and into northeastern Texas. So we'll need it, but too much of a good thing can sometimes be bad, as we could have the threat for some flooding into the next few days, as we still just start to develop more of that rain as we head into the morning, widespread across Texas and even into northern Louisiana and southern Arkansas. Also with it, plenty of clouds across the region. Actually looking to be clearer though as you work into Oklahoma for tomorrow morning. And for the start of the day, well, we have some chilly temperatures where we're seeing clearer skies and 30s and 40s for the start of our Tuesday. But check out where the rain is, where we're having that southerly flow and clouds to work as a blanket. Upper 50s and 60s for the start of your day, even getting warmer by the afternoon, but also even getting a bit more rainy. You see those reds and orange and yellows starting to show up on the model. That's indicating some heavy downpours in spots potentially across Waco, Temple, even into southern Arkansas, which is once again where we have that extreme drought. But we don't want it all at once, and that is going to be a potential for us as we continue into Tuesday. Also potential for an isolated strong to severe storm. We have this marginal risk from the Storm Protection Center from Houston all the way towards Jackson, so we do have that threat for some rumbles of thunder with any of those showers. Could be some thunderstorms, and also 1 or 2 could turn strong to severe, as the Storm Prediction Center is indicating right there. So we are going to keep a very close eye on it, because we do have some of those ingredients for stronger storms in the atmosphere for tomorrow. We also have some warm temperatures, 70s and 60s widespread across the south for highs into our Tuesday afternoon. A bit cooler as you work off though into places like El Paso, where we stay still though in the 50s. That's above average for this time of year. And we're also going to stay rainy. We have this low developing. It starts to push off that rain and even take away the clouds with it. By the later half of our Wednesday afternoon into the evening hours, we're starting to see that clearing working into central and western Texas. A few more clouds though still lingering into Texarkana, where we do have, for the most part, clouds going to be decreasing too into the evening and overnight hours into your Wednesday night, Thursday morning. Wednesday afternoon, we have another very warm day on tap into the 70s and 60s, and check this out. Look at all this rain that's going to be accumulating as we have shower after shower move through pretty much the same region from San Antonio all the way into Jackson, Mississippi. We could be seeing about 3 to even 6 inches of accumulation of rain for the next few days, which is potentially going to give us some issues for minor flooding in locations. And then behind it, we start to work in that cold. We're going to be warming up from the lower 50s all the way into the middle 60s, about 15 degrees above average for this time of year, and then dropping off all the way into the 40s and then into the 30s as we head into weekend. So that cold is pushing through just like it is for the rest of the country. A Little Rock, you're going to see quite a few days of rain until we drop the bottom off, with the temperatures going from the middle 60s into the lower 40s for your Saturday and Sunday, and morning starting off near the freezing mark.